Welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Today we're doing something a little different. It's going to be a product review of Williamsburg's oil paint. Now, for those of you watching this on YouTube, just know that I filmed this live on Twitch, so I'm live streaming this video currently, and I may at times make comments like I'm talking to somebody else, and that's somebody that's in the live stream itself. Okay, so the way we're going to go about doing it is I have a sheet of just hot press watercolor paper, and I figure I'll talk about the tube, I'll show you the chart that they sent me, and then I'll also pull up their website, which I'm going to do right now. Sorry about that. That's a little bit of a delay on my part. Williamsburg oil paint. We're going to look up the paint on there because they have a description at the bottom on their website that isn't on this handout. Okay, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about this, and I'll try to put a smear of paint on the paper, and I think that's the best way to do it. I don't usually do product reviews, but if a company sends me something for free, so this is like the full disclosure. I was talking to my friend, and he's like, you got to upgrade to professional artist grade paints, being that the pigment load is better. There's less filler binder within it. Some of the pigments are more natural, meaning that there's like synthetic earth colors and natural earth colors. Some of these things are maybe different mixes of colors in order to achieve a certain one, etc. And just that higher pigment load was like a really big factor. So we were talking about it, and I was looking around online, and I was looking at prices comparing different brands. I don't really want to talk about different brands too much because with product reviews, I'm really not sure what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. So I'm just going to want to just focus on the Williamsburg. But looking at it price-wise, other brands that were professional line or handmade line, the prices were competitive. For what Williamsburg was offering, it seems like it's a good price. It starts at like $10 a tube, but I think maybe the only professional artist grade paint that's in that range, that's a little bit lower than that, would be the Winsor Newton. Everything else starts at it, at $10 and then up, and then they have the different series and whatnot. So let's see. So I'm pulling up their product page. We got the colors, and I'll pull up that. We'll talk about the description. We'll go through that. Okay. So without further ado, all I did was email Williamsburg, asking about their different pigments, telling them that I was looking to do the upgrade. What did they suggest? This is my current color palette. And the gentleman that responded by email said, we're going to send you a whole slew of different things to try out. So when I opened up the package, I was really surprised. There was 4 boxes like this, and each one was a sample set of 3. Now the size of these tubes, I'm not sure. It might be 5 milliliters, maybe a little bit more because it looks larger than. It might even be 10. I'm really not sure. It doesn't say. I was looking for it, but regardless, I mean, free paint is free paint, and it's super awesome. So the first tube was the yellow ochre. I'm going to try to pronounce that, Sebrez Blue. And the next one was Corbett Green. So this was in the landscape sampler. So let's write Williamsburg. Okay, so the first one, yellow ochre. And I'm going to put D next to it for domestic, which I'm pretty sure means that it is sourced from American soil. So let's look up the yellow ochre description on their website. Yellow ochre domestic. It is a Series 1 natural hydrated iron oxide, light fastness excellent, semi-opaque, the grind is fine. That's another thing to mention. As I was researching this company, they have different grinds. They'll have coarse, fine, and extra fine, and the texture will actually show through and feel through whenever you paint. So that's a really cool feature. Also, if you look at their Instagram, they have videos of them running their machines doing the grinding of the pigment or the mixing of the batches. So I think what I could do is just put it on my finger and smear some right there, right? There you go. So that's the yellow ochre. I'm not sure how well that's showing up. Looks pretty good on that. What I'll do for you all is lower this and get closer. There we go. So yellow ochre, naturally occurring yellow ochre from Georgia, stronger tinting than the Italian yellow ochre. So they have an Italian one, which I would assume would be from dark from Italy, and in use somewhere between Italian and lemon ochre. And their website. Let's see how that shows up on the camera because I'm using the Kindle right here to display their page. So they have a almost a gradation, so you can kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like on their page. And then right here we have the yellow ochre, and that's from their color chart. Okay, so that's yellow ochre. And then, like I said, sourced from Georgia, which is super cool. Earth pigments, if I understand, they have some synthetic ones called the Mars pigments, which are more consistent because they're synthetic and made in a lab. But there's definitely a romanticism behind having a pigment that came from the ground itself. This next one is the Corbett Green. Okay, and let's pull up some information about that after I do a little finger smear. Now the cool thing is, being that it's professional grade, there's not a whole bunch of oil and all that. It's very thick consistency. And so I'll thin that out with the different mediums. When I painted in college, we never used mediums. We used paint straight from the tube, but we were using student grade, so we were just using large quantities of it. Okay, Corbett Green, let's read about that. So this is right here. Okay, there's good representation between the two papers, and their website has the gradient right there. Series 3, so as you increase series when you buy paints, they get a little bit more pricey. This is a combination of 3 different pigments. The back of this chart has the pigment combinations, I believe. Light fastness excellent, which is something that I'm always like a big fan of, having excellent light fastness. The grind here is very fine, and the description: a deep bluish yet earthy green, similar to indigo but green instead of blue. Very sensitive to mixing. A small amount of yellow throws this color into an entirely different key. I'm curious. I'm not going to do any mixing today with these, but I think that's quite cool. So Corbett Green, a mixture of some pigments, and there we go. A very nice color. Next we have the Sebrez Blue. Now I wonder if Severus is a region or referring to a past painter or something like that, you know, kind of like Van Dyke Brown or Payne's Gray, referring to the artist Payne from what, the 1800s. This is Severus Blue. Oh wow, that's a pretty blue. That would look great in skies. Let's see if I can find it on this sheet. Yeah, so it holds pretty pretty true. It looks like they had maybe mixed it and had a texture when they did that. And then we'll look at their product description on their site, which the site is really professional. It is a really good site. It's very easy to go through. The site matches up pretty well to it. Series 3. Looks like 2 pigments. Copper phthalocyanine. That might be a like a phthalo blue type pigment. ASTM, light fastness excellent. Opaque, a very fine grind, so it'd be a very smooth application. Their description: brilliant, warm sky blue, crisper and brighter than cerulean. Named after the famous blue enamel on Sebrez porcelain. Very nice. That's a beautiful color. And I know that I'm going to wind up using these tubes, and they're going to wind up having a fanboy who's going to essentially put their kids through college buying paint from them all the time. And like I said, they send these samples out. I think if you just request them, you just say, hey, you know, this is what I'm into, blah, blah, blah. And they send them out, no charge. And I think that's really cool. Like, no commitment, no nothing like that. And I figure the biggest way to thank them is just to film this. Hopefully it's not a terrible film, and they're like, we'd prefer if you thank me by taking that film down because it's so bad. Okay, so this next box is traditional grind. I'm not quite sure what they mean by that. When we look up the pigment information, maybe that'll come up. Still de grain. Ooh, I can feel the coarseness in this one without a doubt. So this is still de grain. We'll find it on our chart where this would sit. I'd have no idea. Still de grain. Italian pink, burnt umber, transparent. Green. It's organized by regions. This chart, I'm just looking to see where it is. I'm not proficient in the origin of languages, and the STIL must have some sort of, there it is. So still de grain, I'll get it here, but it must have some sort of reference to its location or a historical one, just like the previous blue. Okay, Series 4, another excellent light fastness. So far, all 4 are excellent light fastness. Transparent, so we'll be able to glaze with that. That'll be cool. Grind is coarse, so traditional grind. And like I said, when I put it down with my finger, I could feel the grittiness of it. The Dutch originally made this from unripe buckthorn berries. A warm, transparent gold, perfect for glazing. That's awesome. I'm really looking forward to learning how to do all the glazing. I've been experimenting with that. I did a still life the other day where I felt like glazing was going to be imperative. I have to for me to figure out how to recede a plate into shadow. So I'm looking forward to using this one and that coarse texture over it. Okay, Sap Green. Now Sap Green is a pigment I use a lot of whenever I do kind of the fast and loose tonalism grisaille underpaintings, you know, but kind of just like a finished painting. And I got that color combination from Stuart Davies and Sap Green and Venetian Red from Stuart Davies and Dennis Sheehan. That's Sap Green. Now I know that's a mixture. I know I looked it up on their website previously, and I'm pretty sure the website they're very adamant about the light fastness of it. So this is a series 5, 3 pigments coming together. I don't think there's any Sap Green that is one pigment, but I'm not sure. Light fastness, excellent. So once again, we have 5 pigments that are light fastness now. Semi-transparent, grind is medium. The description, not fugitive like other companies. Absolutely permanent, but slightly cooler in tint. Not as yellow as some others. So that's the description there. And on their color chart, yeah, I mean, the color chart's like working really good with matching things up, as well as their website. And I like that they have a worded description of it. It makes you feel like they put the extra effort in. Italian Pompeii Red is the last one from this one. And I'll be honest, I'm trying like not to be like biased or anything like that, but I'm loving these. I'm loving just the way this company presents stuff, the way they communicated with me, the way they have their descriptions online. I'm really just enjoying this company. Kind of like Noodler's Inks. I love Noodler's Inks' online presence. I love their packaging. I love that, you know, it's originally, it was a small business. I think the guy still makes it. Here, I think Williamsburg started out as a one-man operation, selling to his fellow students. They do have a biography on the guy online, and they do have links to show his artwork, which is cool, you know, knowing something that's coming from, you know, the ground up. I think they're owned by another company now, but they still seem to hold true to the original vision. Okay, so we have Italian Pompeii Red. I should have wrote red there. Italian Pompeii Red, here we go. Looks like it matches up pretty good. Search Pompeii. Okay, so once again, so this is series 3. So they have a line of Italian earth pigments, I believe, coming from, you know, Italy, or at least based off of them. Okay, once again, an excellent light fastness. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all 6 of these are excellent light fastness. The grind is medium. The true, intense, brilliant red of ancient Italian frescoes. Hot, glowing, and luminous. Man, I love that. Probably mix these two together, the Sap Green and the Pompeii Red, to create that that brown for that fast and loose landscapes. That's gonna be so much fun. That one was a little oily coming out the tube, so I'm not sure if there's, you know, if you store it upside down in the oil, it will rise and mix. But so far, that's the only one I had any inkling of an issue with. As you can tell, all these were just straight from the tube for the first time, just going right onto my finger. Okay, so that was the traditional grind. This is Balanced Trio. So this is interesting. Let's see what this says. And like I said, I'll reiterate it every so often for people that are jumping around in the video. No kickbacks from them. They just, just sent it to me with no strings attached. And I'm filming this to, take the time to thank them. And hopefully y'all will see this when you're researching professional paints. And this might help you decide. So this is the Indian Yellow, which I have in a watercolor from, for my watercolor paints. I never really used it, this color in general. But my friend was saying that Indian Yellow is good for glazing, so let's see what they say. Naples Yellow, John Williams, Cobalt, Indian Yellow, here we go. Alright, so Indian Yellow right here, it matches up. So everything's looking good on that part. Let's search Indian here. Indian Yellow. Series 3. Light Fastness Fair. Okay, so this is the first one that has any issues in regarding to light fastness. So we're gonna have to I'm gonna have to research what they consider fair in comparison to excellent. So excellent, 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 fair. So I'm gonna look out and watch for that. Opacity, transparent, grind is fine. Description, transparent golden yellow. When used thickly, it has an orange color like pumpkin custard. And this is a signal pigment as well. This is PY83. Darylide Yellow. I've never heard of that one. So, do they say anything about that? What that is? No. That's for researching for another day. Okay, next we have Ultramarine Blue. I'm not sure because the cap is purple right here, so I don't know if they had an issue right there. Let's see what I can get out. There we go. And Ultramarine Blue is a staple on almost everybody's palette, and it looks like an Ultramarine Blue. Let's see how it compares. Yep, matches up good. And their website description. I think most ultramarine blues are made out of a synthetic, and I think that synthetic came out in the 1800s. And I believe this is a scenario where I think you actually want the synthetic as opposed to the original. The original was lapis lazuli, if I'm pronouncing that right, and I think it was worth its weight in gold, like more than gold. And it was crushed stone. Okay, so let's see, series 2. I think online maybe it's $10-12 for the tube. And like I said, ultramarine blue is always a staple on almost everybody's palette, so that's something to really consider. Opacity is transparent, grind very fine, and description, beautiful, rich, clean, and transparent. Yep, it is a beautiful color and always a go-to for me. In fact, I've been playing around a lot with just burnt umber and ultramarine mixtures on all my palettes. And the watercolorist James Fletcher Watson, who is deceased, had put out quite a few watercoloring books, and ultramarine blue mixed with burnt umber was good for like the gray clouds. Ultramarine blue and a light red oxide or Venetian red, I use that for far distant purplish blue mountains or tree lines. So, and that's kind of like watercolor and all that, but there's just so many uses for ultramarine blue. When I was painting the still life the other day, I just used ultramarine blue for the blue on the kind of like Chinese plate that I was trying to learn how to paint. All right, permanent crimson. So this is essentially a red, yellow, blue triad sampler that they sent me. This one, a little oily on the way out, probably the most oily. I think we did have a little bit of issues with the Italian Pompeii coming out first. Like I said, I think just putting it upside down will help mix it. So, permanent crimson, let's look at their two charts and read the description. Permanent crimson. Let's see if we can find it on here. We have alizarin crimson. Permanent crimson, there we go. Okay. This one does seem a little bit, I guess, orangey redder than the other, the permanent crimson. So the two pictures do seem a little off. Let me check their website. I think the website is a better description of it. And like I said, I live stream this. We have somebody coming into the chat, and I'm going to upload these to YouTube. And it's somebody who likes turtles, apparently, right? Or tortoise. So thank you for dropping by. If there's anything you can't see well in these videos, let me know so I can kind of correct them. And if there's anything you want me to talk about as I kind of just look at these paints, let me know. So permanent crimson, this is series 6, so that means it's going to be higher in price. Excellent light fastness. So I think we just had the one Indian yellow that had anything but excellent light fastness. Grind is very fine. Description: an absolutely permanent light fast substitute for alizarin crimson, which is like, yes, we need that. Not at all electric or synthetic looking, more down to earth than quinacridones. Exquisitely clean for mixing. Next time I paint grapes, I'm going to use that. Okay, so let's put that box away, and we have one more box to look at. And once again, like I'm saying throughout these, check out the Williamsburg's paints. These were sent as, just like, hey, check these out. I contacted them as I wanted to upgrade to a professional line of paints. And just contact them and they I guess send samples. There was no strings attached, no nothing. Okay, so this last one is European Earths. It has Italian Pompeii Red in it, so I'm going to put that one on the side since we already looked at that. We'll start with Italian Lemon Ochre, which I'm really excited about. I love my raw siennas for watercolor, and I love the yellow ochre for oils. Okay, Italian lemon ochre. We'll spread this on out. I can feel the grittiness of this one, which is, like we talked about earlier, they have very fine, I think medium grind, and then coarse. And those are probably personal preferences, but it definitely adds a sense of just like a romanticism to it. It's just so cool. Anyway, let's look at Italian lemon. I think they sell an Italian full-size set. It might be 10 tubes. I think that might be 37 milliliters. I'm not sure. And it's like the whole spread of Italian earth, their pigments. Same thing with their French, which I think this is, I'm really excited about the French Terra Verte. So Italian, and we're looking at Italian lemon ochre. Is it on here? Did I write the right thing? I'm gonna search lemon. Italian lemon ochre, there we go. Okay. It holds true. Holds true. Okay. Excellent. Series 3. So light fastness is excellent. Semi-opaque. Grind is medium. I commented on that. I felt that when I was putting that out. Description. A light, clear, bright yellow. Almost too luminous to call ochre. It glows like the Italian light. Oh, that's awesome. That comment is almost so at the description of, who was it? JMW Turner. After I think he went to the Italy, Mediterranean area, and he came back and painted back in England, and people are like, "Oh, you're everything's too bright and warm now," or something like that. I think that was him. How the region, I guess the pigments from a different region, and just the atmosphere affected people's approaches. So that's cool. Last one, French Terra Verte. Terra Verte. So I think Terra means earth, and I think Verte means green. So French Terra Verte. Oh, you can tell this one's going to be. And this is just like small little smears that I'm putting on my finger. And if this was mixed with a medium, this would go a long way. So, Verte. French Terra Verte. Their catalog matches up to it. Series 4. ASTM, so it's excellent light fastness. Transparent. Grind is medium, so that's going to have that grit to it. It's a cooler, bluer version of the Italian Terra Verte. It lends itself to a landscape palette, but more importantly, due to its transparent nature, it is very useful imparting subtle tones to a portrait palette. Ooh. With portrait, I've been playing, in college we had a mixture of colors for that, and that was like 15 years ago with just student grade, and I had taken a long hiatus from painting and from portraits, and now getting back into portraits, I'm using the Zorn palette plus Ultramarine. But I have, read a lot about having a green or a sap green in a portrait palette, so that might be a direction I start experimenting with. So, to sum it all up, and one last time to reiterate, I wasn't paid or anything like that to make this video. The company itself has a lot of different paints, a lot of different options between where the pigment came from, if it's an earth color, maybe in Europe, America, Italy, France, different areas. They have different textural values, and they have awesome... Oh, and of course I dropped my soda right all over this. What a great way to end the video, right? Nobody saw that, right? Okay. So while I very timidly wipe this up, like I was saying, it's a company that seems to really take pride in their product. Very good at communicating. Very nice website. Very friendly and helpful people. So look into them, check them out. Give their website a look at. If you're in the Americas, United States, Blick carries them, as well as the Jackson Art Supplies. I'm not sure what other places carry it. You could also find it on Amazon, I believe. Even on eBay, you'll find some pigments. And where else? There's one other place I definitely saw it. I think Michael's website, but I think they were sold out, and they had those Italian and French art sets. But they're very easy to find. Price-wise, compared to other professional lines and artist lines, they're very good price-wise. And in fact, I think just looking at these, it's just really worth going with them just based on the price points. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. And I'm going to sign off and get some painting done. So you all have a great day, and I'll talk to you all soon.